She was on her knees. 72 years old, gray maid's uniform, hands reaching toward the marble floor, toward scraps of food that had been pulled from the trash and thrown at her feet. "Eat it," the woman of the house had said. "This is what your work is worth." She wasn't crying. She had given this house enough of her tears. Outside, 7 black SUVs were turning onto Star Island Drive. The security guard at the gate dropped his coffee. They moved in military formation, tinted windows black as midnight, the kind of convoy that carries presidents, or billionaires, or men who burn down empires when you touch what belongs to them. They rolled past the hedge fund managers, past the retired athletes, past the tech founders with their infinity pools. They stopped at the largest estate on the island, the Ashworth residence. But the engines idled. 12,000 pounds of armored steel sitting in the circular driveway like a threat wrapped in chrome. The front door of the lead SUV opened. A man stepped out, 6 feet 4 inches, charcoal suit, no tie. He moved like someone who owned time itself. He buttoned his jacket with one hand and looked up at the mansion. He didn't rush. Men like him never rush. Behind him, 6 more doors opened. 2 men and 4 women stepped out, all in suits, all carrying tablets or leather portfolios. They fell in step behind him without a word. He walked toward the front door. He didn't knock. He didn't ring the bell. He opened it and walked inside. Because the woman on her knees in that kitchen, the woman picking up scraps from the floor, was his mother. And he had come to teach someone a lesson about respect. 3 weeks earlier, an old woman in a gray uniform walked through the servants' entrance. She had no idea she was walking into a house that would test every ounce of patience she had built over 72 years. But the house had no idea who it was testing. 3 weeks earlier. The servants' entrance was around the back, past the 6-car garage, through a door that didn't have a handle on the outside. Adama Onyekwelu pressed the buzzer and waited. She was small, 5 feet 1 inch, thin frame, 72 years old with skin like polished mahogany and white hair cropped close to her head. She wore a plain gray dress, flat black shoes, and carried a small bag with her lunch inside. No jewelry except a thin gold wedding band on her left hand. She looked like exactly what she was pretending to be, an old woman who needed work. The door opened, and a woman in a housekeeper's uniform looked her up and down. "You're the new one? From the agency?" "Yes, ma'am. Adama." "I'm Beatrice, head of housekeeping." Beatrice stepped aside. "Come in. Mrs. Ashworth wants to meet you before you start." Adama followed her through a service hallway that smelled like laundry detergent and lemon polish. The walls were bare, no windows. This was the part of the house the guests never saw. They emerged into a kitchen larger than most apartments. Marble counters, professional appliances. A chef was preparing something that smelled expensive. And standing by the island inspecting a flower arrangement was Miranda Ashworth, 52 years old, blonde hair perfectly styled, Chanel suit, Hermes scarf, diamond earrings that caught the morning light like tiny prisons. She looked up when they entered, and her eyes moved over Adama the way someone inspects a piece of furniture they're not sure about. "This is the new maid?" "Yes, ma'am, from Premier Staffing." "She's old." "Yes, ma'am." Miranda walked toward Adama, circled her slowly. Adama stood still, her hands folded in front of her. "What's your name?" "Adama, ma'am." "Where are you from? That accent." "Nigeria, ma'am." "How long have you been in America?" 45 years, ma'am." Miranda's eyebrow lifted. "And you're still cleaning houses?" Adama said nothing. The question wasn't meant to be answered. It was meant to establish something, to draw a line, to make sure Adama knew which side of it she stood on. "Well," Miranda turned back to her flowers, "we have standards in this house. I expect perfection. Not almost. Not good enough. Perfection. The previous girl couldn't manage it, that's why she's gone." "I understand, ma'am." "Do you?" Miranda looked at her again. Because if you can't keep up, I won't waste time. There are 100 women who would take your place. I understand, ma'am. Miranda waved her hand. Dismissal. Beatrice will show you your duties. Your quarters are in the staff wing. You're not to use the main staircase. You're not to speak to Mr. Ashworth or the children unless spoken to. You're not to eat any food from the main kitchen. Is that clear? Yes, ma'am. Then get to work. Adama followed Beatrice back into the service hallway. Don't take it personally, Beatrice said quietly. She's like that with everyone. I don't take anything personally, Adama said. Not anymore. The room they gave her was smaller than a prison cell. But Adama had slept in worse places. The difference was, back then, she had no choice. Now, she was choosing this. And choices make all the difference. The staff quarters were at the far end of the east wing. It wasn't a room. It was a converted closet, 6 feet by 8 feet. A narrow bed pushed against one wall. A small dresser. A window that looked out at the back of the air conditioning unit. Adama set her bag on the bed. She looked around. She had built a company from nothing. She had closed deals in boardrooms overlooking the Hong Kong skyline. She had dined with presidents and prime ministers. Now she was standing in a closet. She smiled. Let's see what you're made of, Miranda Ashworth. The first week was tolerable. Adama worked. She cleaned bathrooms that were already clean. She polished silver that was already gleaming. She vacuumed carpets that showed no footprints. Every evening, Miranda walked through the house with a white glove. She ran it along surfaces. She checked corners. She looked for reasons to be disappointed. There's a streak on this mirror. Yes, ma'am. I'll fix it. This pillow isn't centered. Yes, ma'am. Why does this bathroom smell like cleaning products? It should smell like nothing. Yes, ma'am. Adama fixed everything. She said nothing. She watched. If you've ever worked for someone who made you feel invisible, keep watching. If you've ever bitten your tongue while someone with power made you feel small, this story is for you. And if you haven't subscribed yet, now is the time. Because what this woman endures, and what happens when the motorcade arrives, will stay with you for days. The first week was tolerable. The second week was harder. The third week would break most people. But Adama Onyekwelu was not most people. The second week, Miranda found new reasons to be cruel. You missed a spot on the chandelier. The chandelier was 20 feet above the ground. The spot she pointed to was invisible to the human eye. Yes, ma'am. I'll get the ladder. Adama climbed the ladder. She was 72 years old. The ladder swayed. Miranda watched from below, arms crossed, offering no help. Higher! You missed the crystal on the left. Adama climbed higher. Her arms ached. Her knees screamed. She cleaned the invisible spot. She climbed down. Better, Miranda said. Do the one in the dining room next. You're walking too loudly. Adama was wearing flat, rubber-soled shoes. She made no sound at all. I'll walk softer, ma'am. See that you do. You're eating again? Adama was in the staff kitchen, eating the lunch she had brought from home. A small container of rice and vegetables. It's my lunch break, ma'am. You had a lunch break yesterday. We have one every day, ma'am. It's in the employment agreement. Miranda's eyes narrowed. Don't quote agreements at me. You eat too much. It makes you slow. Adama looked at her small container. It was perhaps 2 cups of food. I'll eat less, ma'am. Miranda walked away. Adama finished her rice, every grain. The third week, the cruelty found its target. Miranda had been looking for a reason, a real reason. Something she could use to humiliate completely. She found it on a Tuesday. Adama was dusting the library when Miranda walked in with 3 women, friends, socialites, women with similar haircuts and similar jewelry and similar ways of looking through the help. Oh, Miranda, one of the women said. Your staff, are they reliable? This one is new. Miranda looked at Adama. What's your name again? Adama, ma'am. Adama. Miranda tasted the name like something sour. She's from Africa. Nigeria, I think, or Ghana. One of those. Nigeria, ma'am. Is there a difference? The women laughed. Adama didn't respond. She's slow, Miranda continued, but she follows instructions. That's all you can really ask for. Adama kept dusting. Her hand moved steadily across the shelf. Watch this, Miranda said to her friends. Oh, Adama. Yes, ma'am. Stop dusting. Stand up straight. Look at me. Adama stopped. She stood straight. She looked at Miranda. Turn around. Adama turned. Slower. Adama turned slower, a slow rotation while 4 women watched, like she was being inspected at auction. See? Miranda said to her friends. Obedient. That's the key. You have to train them early. Adama completed her rotation. She faced Miranda. Her face showed nothing. You can go back to dusting. Yes, ma'am. Adama picked up her cloth. She continued working. The women moved on to the next room, their laughter echoing down the hall. And Adama thought about the phone in her bag. One press of a button, one conversation. But not yet. She had not seen enough yet. She had endured the inspections. She had endured the insults. She had endured being turned like an object for entertainment. But what Miranda did next would be the thing that ended it. The thing that brought the motorcade. Thursday evening, the Ashworths were hosting a dinner party. 12 guests, business associates, important people who needed impressing. Adama had been working since 5 a.m., polishing, cleaning, preparing. Her back ached. Her feet were swollen. She was 72 years old and she had been standing for 14 hours. At 10 p.m., the dinner ended. The guests left. The kitchen was a disaster of half-eaten plates and wine glasses and crumpled napkins. Adama was told to clean. She cleaned. She scraped plates into the trash. She loaded the dishwasher. She wiped counters and mopped floors while the rest of the family went to bed. At midnight, she finished. She hadn't eaten since morning. She opened the refrigerator. There was leftover lamb from the dinner, roasted vegetables, fresh bread. She pulled out a small plate. She took a modest portion of lamb, 2 spoonfuls of vegetables, 1 piece of bread. She sat at the small staff table. She picked up her fork. The kitchen door swung open. Miranda stood there in a silk robe. Her face was covered in some kind of cream. Her eyes were covered in something worse. What are you doing? Adama set down her fork. I was just eating dinner, ma'am. I haven't eaten since... Is that my food? The dinner is over, ma'am. I thought the leftovers... You thought? Miranda walked toward her. You thought you could eat my food? The food I paid for? The food I served my guests? I apologize, ma'am. I was hungry. I'll put it back. Put it back? Miranda laughed, and it wasn't a kind laugh. You've touched it. You've breathed on it. I can't serve that to anyone now. She picked up the plate. Adama watched. She knew what was coming. Miranda walked to the trash can. She tilted the plate. The lamb slid off. The vegetables tumbled after it. The bread fell last. But Miranda wasn't finished. She walked to the trash can. She reached in. She pulled out the scraps, meat, vegetables, bread, all mixed with coffee grounds and napkins and whatever else was in there. She walked back to Adama. She dropped the scraps on the floor. On the marble floor, Adama had just finished mopping. There, Miranda said. You want to eat? Eat that. Adama looked at the scraps on the floor. Food mixed with garbage, lying on marble. Ma'am, I said eat it. Miranda's voice was ice. You're so hungry? This is what you earn. This is what your work is worth. Now get on your knees and eat the scraps I give you. Silence. The kitchen was silent except for the hum of the refrigerator. Adama looked at the floor. She looked at Miranda. She looked at the woman's face, twisted with a cruelty that had probably been building for decades, finally finding a target that couldn't fight back. Slowly, Adama got on her knees. She lowered herself to the floor. She was 72 years old. Her joints screamed. Her dignity screamed louder. She looked at the scraps. "Pick it up," Miranda said, "with your hands, and eat it." Adama reached out. Her hand touched a piece of lamb covered in coffee grounds. She picked it up. She raised it toward her mouth. "Mom, what are you doing?" Lucas stood in the doorway, 16 years old, in his pajamas. His face was white with horror. "Go back to bed, Lucas." "What are you doing to her?" "I said go back to bed." Lucas didn't move. He stared at his mother, at the old woman on her knees, at the food covered in garbage in her hand. "This is insane," he said. "This is literally insane. She stole our food, Lucas. She ate leftovers. We throw away more food than she could eat in a week. That's not the point. Then what is the point?" Lucas's voice cracked. He was crying. A 16-year-old boy crying at midnight because his mother was making an old woman eat garbage. "The point," Miranda said slowly, "is respect. The point is knowing your place. The point is, you're a monster." The word hung in the air. Monster. Miranda's face changed. The cruelty was replaced by something else. Shock. And beneath the shock, and something that might have been recognition. But she pushed it away. "Go to your room, Lucas. Now." "Come on, Mrs. Adama." Lucas walked to her. He reached down. He helped her stand. "You don't have to do this. Come on. You can have food from my room. I have snacks. Come on." He led her out of the kitchen, his hand on her elbow, gentle, the way someone helps their grandmother. Miranda stood alone in the kitchen, surrounded by scraps on the floor, surrounded by the truth of who she was. She kicked the scraps under the counter. She walked back to bed. She slept fine. Monsters always do. Lucas gave her crackers and a bottle of water from his room. He apologized over and over. He said he was sorry for his mother. He said he wished he could do something. He didn't know that the old woman he was helping could buy his house 100 times over. He was just being kind. And kindness like that is the rarest thing in the world. Adama sat on Lucas's bed while he sat on the floor. He had given her cheese crackers and a bottle of water and a granola bar. He watched her eat with worried eyes. "I'm so sorry," he said for the 10th time. "I'm so sorry about my mom." "You didn't do anything wrong, child." "But she's my mom, and she's horrible. I know she's horrible." Adama looked at him, at this boy who was nothing like his mother, who had the same face, but none of the cruelty. "Where does your kindness come from?" she asked. Lucas shrugged. "I don't know. My dad's never around. My mom is, I guess I just decided I didn't want to be like them." "That's a brave choice." "Is it?" "It doesn't feel brave. It just feels like not being terrible." Adama smiled. A real smile. The first one she had given in this house. "Sometimes that's the bravest choice of all." Lucas looked at her. "You're different, Mrs. Adama. You're not like the other staff." "Different how?" "I don't know. You don't seem scared, like you're watching all of us instead of us watching you." Adama said nothing, but something flickered in her eyes. Something this boy had seen that no one else in this house had noticed. "Can I tell you something?" Lucas asked. "Of course. I hate it here. I hate this house. I hate what my mom does to people. I hate how my dad pretends not to see." He wiped his eyes. "I can't wait to leave. As soon as I turn 18, I'm gone." "And what will you do?" "I don't know. Something different. Something good. I want to help people, not—" He gestured around. "Not whatever this is." Adama reached out. She took his hands. Her skin was wrinkled and worn. His was young and soft. "You will do good things, Lucas. I can see it in you." "How can you see that?" "Because I have seen many people in my life. Many, many people. And the ones who become something special, they all have the same thing inside, a refusal to become what surrounds them." She squeezed his hands. "Thank you, child, for the crackers, and for being human." Adama went back to her small room. She closed the door. She sat on her narrow bed. She reached into her bag. She pulled out a phone. Not the old flip phone she had been using. A different one. A smartphone. Or one of the latest models. She opened it. She pressed one button. Speed dial. It rang twice. "Mama." The voice on the other end was deep, alert, immediate. "Emeka, my son." "Mama, what's wrong? You never call this phone." "I know. I wanted to see the house first. I wanted to understand who lives here." "And?" Adama looked around her small room, at the narrow bed, at the window facing the air conditioning unit. "I think it's time for you to visit." "What did they do?" "Come and see." "Mama, tell me." Adama closed her eyes. She could still feel the coffee grounds on her fingers. She could still see Miranda's face, twisted with pleasure at another human's humiliation. "The woman made me kneel on the floor. She threw my food in the garbage. She made me pick it out. She told me to eat it." Silence. Longer this time, but different. The silence of a storm gathering. "Mama." "Yes? I'll be there tomorrow." "Bring the team." "The whole team?" "All of them." Adama's voice was steady, not angry, something worse than angry. Decided. "And Amika?" "Yes, Mama." "Find out what businesses the husband owns. I want to know everything by morning." "Already pulling it up." Keys clicking in the background. "Gregory Ashworth, real estate developer, Ashworth Properties, 12 commercial developments in Florida and Georgia, currently in negotiations for a major acquisition." "Who's the acquiring company?" More clicking, then silence, then a low laugh. "Mama, you're not going to believe this. Tell me." "The company acquiring Ashworth Properties is Zenith Capital Partners, one of our subsidiaries. The deal closes next week." Adama opened her eyes. It was going to close next week." "Mama, what do you want to do?" "I want you to cancel the deal, and then I want you to come here and tell his wife who she made kneel on the floor. I'll be there at noon. Bring the motorcade." "Yes, Mama." She hung up. She put the phone away. She lay down on her narrow bed and closed her eyes. For the first time in 3 weeks, Adama Onyekwelu slept with a smile on her face. 7 SUVs, 12 executives, one son who would burn down a kingdom to avenge his mother. The Ashworth house was about to become the stage for a reckoning 3 weeks in the making. The next day at noon, 7 black SUVs turned onto Star Island Drive. The security guard at the gate dropped his coffee. Miranda Ashworth was in the sitting room, reviewing menus for an upcoming charity event, when she heard the engines through the window. She looked up. 7 vehicles, tinted windows, moving in formation. "What in the world?" The convoy stopped in the circular driveway, directly in front of the house. Miranda stood. She walked to the window. Her heart was beating faster, though she didn't know why. The front door of the lead SUV opened. A man stepped out. 6 feet 4 inches. Charcoal suit, no tie. Shoes that caught the Miami sun. He moved like he owned the ground beneath him. Behind him, 6 more doors opened. 2 men and 4 women emerged, all in suits, all carrying tablets and portfolios. Miranda's breath caught. She didn't know this man, but she recognized power when she saw it, and she had never seen this much of it standing on her driveway. The front door opened. She hadn't heard anyone ring the bell, but she hadn't heard anyone knock. But the door was opening, and the man in the charcoal suit walked into her house. Gregory Ashworth came running down the stairs. "Miranda, what's happening? There are cars." He stopped. The man was standing in the foyer, tall, silent, surrounded by his team, like a general surrounded by officers. "Mr. Ashworth." The man's voice was deep, calm, terrifying. "My name is Chukwuemeka Onyekwelu. I'm the CEO of Zenith Global Technologies." Gregory's face went white. "Zenith, you're the one acquiring my company." "I was. The deal is now on hold." "What? Why? We had everything agreed. The lawyers—" The deal depends on factors that have recently come to my attention. Emeka looked around the foyer, at the marble floors, at the crystal chandelier, at the perfectly arranged flowers. I've come to discuss those factors in person. Miranda stepped forward, her hostess' smile activated automatically. Mr. Onyekwelu, I'm Miranda Ashworth. Welcome to our home. This is an unexpected visit. Can I offer you something to drink? Emeka looked at her. He looked at her for a long moment without speaking. His eyes moved over her face, her perfect hair, her designer clothes, her practiced smile. No, thank you, he said. I won't be here long. Perhaps we can sit in the living room and that won't be necessary. Emeka turned to one of his team members. Is she here? Yes, sir. Staff quarters, East Wing. Bring her. The woman nodded. She walked toward the back of the house, toward the servants' corridor. Miranda watched her go. Her smile faltered. Bring who? I don't understand. Mrs. Ashworth. Emeka's voice cut through her words like a blade through silk. I'm going to ask you one question, and I need you to answer honestly. Can you do that? Of course. Do you have an employee named Adama? Miranda blinked. Adama? The maid? What does she have to do with... Do you have an employee named Adama? Yes or no? Yes, but she's just the cleaning woman. I don't see why... The woman from Emeka's team returned, and walking beside her, in her plain gray uniform and her flat black shoes, was Adama Onyekwelu. She looked small beside the executives, small and old and tired, but she didn't look weak. She walked into the foyer and stood beside her son. Emeka reached out. He took her hand. He raised it to his lips. He kissed her knuckles. Mama. Miranda's world stopped. Her mouth opened, closed, opened again. Or Mama. The word echoed through the marble foyer. Mama. One word, 2 syllables, and Miranda Ashworth's entire universe collapsed around her. This is my mother, Emeka said. His voice was quiet, but it filled every corner of the room. Adama Onyekwelu. She founded Mensa Trading Company in 1978. She sold it in 2002 for $200 million. She owns 15% of Zenith Global Technologies. Her net worth, conservatively, is over $600 million. Gregory Ashworth grabbed the banister to keep from falling. She came to work in your house, Emeka continued, because after my father died, she wanted to stay busy. She wanted to see the world. She wanted to understand how people treat those they believe to be beneath them. He looked at Miranda. She told me what she found here. Miranda's legs were shaking. Her face had drained of all color. I didn't know. You didn't know she was wealthy. That's your defense? Emeka's voice hardened for the first time. So if she had been poor, if she had actually been a woman who needed this job, then what you did would have been acceptable. I didn't mean, you made my mother kneel on the floor. The words hit Miranda like physical blows. You threw her food in the garbage. Another blow. You made her pick it out with her hands. Another. You told her to eat it. Miranda's hand went to her mouth. She looked at Adama, at the old woman she had tortured for 3 weeks, at the old woman who could buy her life 10 times over. I'm sorry, Miranda whispered. I'm so sorry. I didn't know. Stop saying you didn't know. Emeka's voice rose for the first time. The windows seemed to rattle. You knew she was a human being. You knew she was old enough to be your mother. You knew she was hungry. And you made her kneel on the floor and eat from the garbage like a dog. Tears were streaming down Miranda's face now. Her makeup was running. Her perfect facade was crumbling. Please, I'll do anything. Please don't. Don't what? Emeka stepped toward her. Don't tell people what you did. Don't ruin your reputation. Don't end your husband's business deal. Gregory stepped forward. Mr. Onyekwelu, please. Whatever my wife did, we can work this out. The acquisition is canceled. 2 words. Final. Absolute. You can't, Gregory started. I can, and I have. Emeka pulled out his phone, showed the screen. The termination letter was sent to your lawyers 20 minutes ago. Zenith Global Technologies is withdrawing from the acquisition. You'll need to find another buyer. But I have investors expecting, then explain to your investors why your wife made an elderly woman eat garbage. Gregory turned to Miranda. His face was purple with rage. What did you do? I didn't know who she was, Miranda screamed. How was I supposed to know? It doesn't matter who she was. The room went silent. It was Adama who had spoken. Her voice was soft, but it cut through the chaos like a knife through fog. She stepped forward, small, old, wearing the uniform of a servant, but no one in that room mistook her for a servant anymore. Mr. Ashworth, Mrs. Ashworth, she looked at them both. It doesn't matter that I have money. It doesn't matter that my son is powerful. Those things should change nothing about how you treat a person. She pointed to the floor. I knelt on this marble because your wife told me to. I picked food out of the garbage because she wanted to watch me do it. I was going to put it in my mouth, food covered in coffee grounds and waste, because she told me to. Adama shook her head. And the only reason I didn't was because a 16-year-old boy walked in and stopped her. Your son, Mrs. Ashworth. Your son showed more humanity in 30 seconds than you showed in 3 weeks. Miranda was sobbing now. Ugly, gasping sobs. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. You are not sorry for what you did. You are sorry that you did it to me. Adama's voice was steel wrapped in velvet. If I had been just a poor old woman with no connections and no power, you would have kept doing it. You would have done it until I quit or until you fired me. You would have gone to bed satisfied every night knowing you had reminded someone of their place. She stepped closer to Miranda. That is why this is not about forgiveness. The room was silent. Emeka watched his mother, waiting. Gregory watched his wife, terrified. Miranda looked at Adama through tear-blurred eyes. What are you going to do? Adama was quiet for a long moment. Then she turned to Emeka. The boy. Lucas. Where is he? One of the team members checked a tablet. Upstairs. His room. Bring him down. Lucas came down the stairs slowly. He saw the SUVs through the window. He saw the executives in the foyer. He saw his mother crying and his father pale and his maid standing in the center of it all. Mrs. Adama? Come here. A child. He walked to her, confused, scared. Lucas, this is my son, Emeka. Lucas looked at the tall man in the charcoal suit, the man who had arrived with 7 vehicles and a team of executives. Your son? Yes. Adama smiled at him. A warm smile, the smile she had given him when he shared his crackers. I'm not quite who I seemed to be. Lucas's eyes went wide. He looked at his mother, at his father, at the chaos around him. I don't understand. You don't need to understand everything. Adama took his hands. You just need to understand this. You showed me kindness when no one else did. You stopped your mother when no one else would. You treated me like a human being when everyone in this house treated me like furniture. She looked at Emeka. This is the boy I told you about. Emeka nodded, and he reached into his jacket. He pulled out a business card. He handed it to Lucas. My mother says you want to do something good with your life. Lucas looked at the card. Zenith Global Technologies. Chukwemeka Onyekwelu, CEO. Yes, sir. We have a summer internship program for high school students who show exceptional character, not exceptional grades, not exceptional connections, exceptional character. Emeka put his hand on Lucas's shoulder. You have a place if you want it. Lucas's eyes filled with tears. He looked at Adama. I just gave you some crackers. You gave me humanity. She squeezed his hands. That is worth more than any internship. The reckoning was complete. But Adama Onyekwelu had one more thing to say, and it would be the thing that Miranda Ashworth remembered for the rest of her life. And the executives began filing out to their vehicles. The deal was dead. The Ashworth family's future was uncertain. Miranda was sitting on a chair, mascara down her cheeks, staring at nothing. Adama walked toward the door. But she stopped. She turned back. "Mrs. Ashworth." Miranda looked up. "When you go to sleep tonight, I want you to remember something." Miranda said nothing. She just stared. "I could destroy you." Adama's voice was soft, almost gentle. "Not just the business deal. Everything. Your charity boards, your social standing, your reputation. I could make one phone call and every door that has ever opened for you would close." Miranda's lip trembled. "But I'm not going to do that." Miranda blinked, confusion mixed with the fear. "I'm not going to destroy you because destruction teaches nothing. A prison teaches nothing. Revenge teaches nothing." Adama walked toward her slowly. "The only thing that teaches is truth, and the truth is this." She stood directly in front of Miranda. "Every person you have ever mistreated, every maid you have fired, every server you have humiliated, every human being you have made feel small, any one of them could have been me." She leaned closer. "And any one of them could have been connected to someone who could change your life, someone who could save your business or destroy it, someone who could open doors or close them forever." Miranda was shaking. But even if they weren't connected to anyone at all, even if they were exactly what they appeared to be, they still deserved to be treated with dignity, because that is what human beings deserve. Not because of their connections. Not because of their money, but because they are human. Adama straightened. "That is the lesson." She turned to Gregory. "Mr. Ashworth, my son's company will not be acquiring your developments, but he has other subsidiaries that might be interested in some form of partnership. The decision will be based on one factor." "What factor?" "Whether your wife learns the lesson." She walked to the door. Emeka fell into step beside her. "If I hear, from anyone through any channel, that Mrs. Ashworth has mistreated another employee, another server, another human being, the conversation ends. Permanently." She looked back one more time. "But if I hear that she has changed, that she has learned to see people instead of positions, that she has found the humanity she buried under all those designer clothes," she smiled, "and then perhaps we can do business." The motorcade pulled away. 7 black SUVs rolling down Star Island Drive, past the mansions, past the security gate, back into the world. In the back of the lead vehicle, Adama sat beside her son. "Mama." "Yes?" "You could have destroyed them completely. Why didn't you?" Adama looked out the window, at the palm trees, at the blue water, at the sun that warmed everyone equally, rich and poor alike. "When I was young in Enugu, my mother used to say something. She said, 'Power is not what you can destroy. Power is what you choose not to.'" She turned to look at her son. "Anyone can tear down. It takes strength to build. It takes wisdom to rebuild what is broken, even when the broken thing is a person who hurt you." Emeka nodded slowly. "And if she doesn't change?" Adama smiled, the small smile, but there was iron underneath. "Then she will learn the other lesson my mother taught me." "Which is? Mercy has limits, and I know exactly where mine are." Miranda Ashworth made an old woman kneel on the floor. She threw her food in the garbage. She told her to eat scraps like an animal. She did it because she believed some people are worth more than others. She believed the clothes you wear determine the respect you deserve. She was wrong. The woman in the gray uniform owned more than Miranda would earn in 10 lifetimes. But that's not what matters. What matters is this. Even if Adama had been poor, even if no motorcade had come, even if there had been no consequences at all, What Miranda did would still have been wrong, because every person deserves to eat their food in peace, and because every person deserves to be treated with dignity, because you never know who is standing in front of you. But more importantly, it shouldn't matter. The woman in the faded dress might own the building, or she might own nothing at all. Treat her with respect either way. That's not just wisdom. That's the only way to live. If this story made you feel something real, subscribe. Hit that bell. Because here, every villain falls. The humble always rise. And fate never forgets. The next story is coming. And the person who walks through the door won't offer grace. They'll offer something else entirely.